What's up, Driven Millennial family? It's Mia Sarno, the host, and we are talking fast and easy tips for peak performance without burnout with Dr. Allison J. Kay. She is the international best-selling author and also the founder of Vibrational Upgrade Systems, yeah?
Yeah.
We talk today about fitness. We're going to talk about a little bit of yoga and why the postures are so powerful for you and your ambitions so that you can go and crush all of those amazing goals you have for yourself. So Dr. Allison, thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to kind of connect with you. Tell me a little bit about, just briefly, your time in Asia and how the chakras have really resonated with you.
Okay. Hi, well, I'm glad to be here too. Thanks, Mia. I loved your topic. When you first reached out to my team, I love the topic, Driven Millennials, because I lived outside of this country, not just the decade I spent living in Asia, but I mean, I've lived for months at a time on Greek islands, on Italian islands, in Venezuela as an exchange student in high school, in the UK for 6 weeks at a time. I mean, like, I've lived all over in Turkey, Istanbul. So we got our own gig going on here in America. And it's an interesting take and twist that we have on ambition and on like measuring up. And I go into this a lot in my first book, What If There's Nothing Wrong? Because I wrote it my last year in Asia. I had that pulled back vantage point of having been removed from the American system for so long, even though I came back here in the summers, frequently with layovers for 2 weeks in California, because I have people there before making it over here to Florida. There's like this proving of oneself, it feels like, that got rooted possibly in becoming a colony and then separating independently from the crown way back in the founding of America, where like we had to pull away from the crown, prove that we can come up with our own textiles. So we got the loom to weave our own clothing from the Native Americans who had their own style of a loom. So we didn't have to depend on England for textiles. We did that industry after industry after industry. And it seems like my experience is, and when I asked what was behind this is what I got, in that there's this cultural aspect that while we're known around the world for goal-achieving superstars and ambitious, rock stars, we're also like overbearingly in your face aggressive compared to a lot of other societies. So for example, I was in South Africa visiting, who had been my best friend when I was an expat in Asia, and she was there too. And this is after I had returned to the States and she returned to South Africa. And I'm there with her and a couple of her friends. And I'm noticing how I'm talking. And after like 2 minutes, I'm not noticing how I'm talking as much as after 2 minutes or so, I noticed like the people I was talking to were kind of uncomfortable. And what I got was, wait a minute, Allison, you're so nasally. You've returned back to the American way of speaking, where it's deliverable, it's short, it's bullet listed, it's confident, and they were melodious, like in the South African accent. So I sounded harsh to them, and it was hard for them to listen to. I know in Asia, one of the things that I realized was it's a very feminine yin culture. And this is why I moved there. I had already been doing energy medicine and holistic wellness sessions alongside my classroom teaching career in the States, and was like, I want to have better results for these people. How do I get that? And so I also wanted to have a lighter, happier time making money, where I didn't have the feeling that I was having a dry life with no adventure and just working to pay the bills. And all I wanted was like organic produce and massage and we drive a simple car. I totally
agree with that. That's so true. And in the sense too that like the time I've spent 3 months in Asia, and you do unplug from that like rigidness and that like, let me hit this to-do list and go after it. And both are great, both serve their purposes. People get a lot of work done in a different context than maybe I achieve something. And that's something I had to learn about people, and just knowing that not everybody does something the same way. But for my listeners that are similar to me, it's true that you can have a different approach to things and a different approach to life. And I love that you kind of brought that up, because a lot of us go on those vacations or want these hypersensory experiences like going to Southeast Asia or doing Bali. And then you find what yin really is, and you kind of pray you take it home, like for me, like napping was like, I need to nap, like I can't. And I don't know how to do that, because I'm like, I have a lot of stuff to do. And so there's that component where, even in like, Spain, there's that whole siesta thing. And so the body really responds to that yin life. And then, the chakra system and things about that. So I actually didn't know, you taught me this, that, that ambition and that drive comes from one of my particular chakras. And it was hilarious because I'm like over here rubbing my belly while she's talking about it. And it was just really like, it was all intuitive. So share with me a little bit more about that. And then we'll tie into like kind of what you said about my running habit and how that actually serves me.
All right. So I'm going to take off from where I was just talking about, because we are talking about being driven, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about the whole sleep napping aspect. And I remember I got my world blown apart when I was seeing my colleagues in the Chinese colleagues in Taiwan pull these little like desk pillows was what they were called, out onto their desk, put their head face down and nap at the office in the afternoon when they weren't teaching a class. It was revolutionary for me. And I had already been to like Venezuela where there was siesta time and I knew about the concept, but I hear you on the napping. And so when you talk about yin, there's this whole, like I'm a Qigong teacher too, and there's this whole flow of energy that happens via the chakra column. And when you talked about there's other ways to get things done. People don't all just drive on the to-do list and really ambitious to get things done. People do it in different ways. One of the things I find myself talking all the time about with my clients in my program is how to have more balance between the being aware of, and how to use the yin and the yang energy in balance. And one of the key ways is having a yoga practice that helps open up all the chakras. And what does that mean? We could go into mind, body, fitness. We could go into my background as a personal trainer and a yoga teacher, but we've decided not to do that. We've decided to go ahead and let me talk about how the physical crosses over into the mental concepts you end up thinking day in and day out. Your programming, what you end up thinking about is also wired into the chakras. And then your spiritual aspect of you. So the mind, body, and spirit all intersect at a chakra. Chakra in Sanskrit, the Hindi language over there in India, is translated into wheel. Chakra means wheel in English. So the traditional 7 chakra column, I just pointed to 3 of them, is known to be a wheel. And if it's opened and balanced, then it turns the vital life force energy in that area. Now, we're talking way beyond like YouTube videos where you go and get an attunement for your 3rd chakra one day. We're talking about like, if you're going to the 3rd chakra, which is the upper belly, this is the one that's used for manifestation. So every chakra has was that a crow?
I think so.
When clients start working with me, they start to see crows everywhere.
That's amazing. Yeah, the universe has just worked with us this whole afternoon, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, they symbolize the magic you can choose in every moment to create your life with. So instead of the conditioning that this is the way I have to get things done, I have to have a massive to-do list, I have to be massively productive, I have to always be on, I have to push and drive myself and reach that goal, all of that is a possible way to configure how to go about life. But then there's other options. So if I perceive, and I don't even consciously consider, well, how do I think about ambition? How do I think about drive? How do I think about reaching my goals? And you just go about your life, then you are operating on unconscious beliefs that have either gotten in from societal conditioning, parental conditioning, lineage conditioning, past lives, because mind, body, and spirit intersect at a chakra. So when I'm working on somebody's chakra, the spirit part, I can access their karma in their past lives, and also trauma, and also unconscious conclusions. So ages 0 to 8, our neurology gets wires. 0 to 2, we don't even separate from our parents. We think and feel what they do. We don't even know that it's not ours. And then that goes into our neurological wiring. And then 2 to 8, we're sitting there starting to separate at age 2. No! So we can have our own ego, identity, and personality. And then we start to go, okay, so how does Uncle Jack do it on planet Earth? How does my older brother do it on planet Earth? Okay, so if I like that feeling I get from mom, how does my brother get that feeling from mom? Oh, he seems to be really a good student. So, and he gets that smile of approval that I want too. So I must have to be a really good student.
Yeah, and there's that. So in yoga, we talk about detachment because you are consistently attached to other people's perspectives. If you're competing, it's almost this weird competition thing. I think as a driven millennial, that's huge for me because it gets me like really well. Like I did really well in competitive sports because of that, because I was hyper aware of the other person and I wanted to win. But in business and in prosperity and abundance, me competing with someone doesn't mean that there's less for them or more than them, because it's the abundance is everlasting. And so what we wanted to talk a little bit about in that ambition and what you just mentioned, that mindset can be rooted in my third chakra. Is that right?
Yep. So the third chakra, now specifically, every chakra has a right to it. And the third one is the right to desire what you desire. So it's built on the second one, which is the right to feel the way you feel. And it's built on the first one, which is I have the right to be here. So let's say, for example, you learned that your older brother or older sister got approval from mom and dad by successfully competing. I'm not necessarily using your example, although a lot of the times when I do this, they're intuitively guided. But I'm not saying this is necessarily yours, Mia. And so you have this conclusion unconsciously wired into your system. So the mind, body, spirit chakras, they all connect. There's a Sushumna channel, and then there's the Ida and Pingala, which end up looking like the catechist symbol, the serpent wrapping around the sword that we use on our ambulances here. It's the same symbol that actually comes from yoga. And that is actually the symbolism of the chakra column. So there's a main column, and then there's all these side meridians in Chinese, nadis in Hindi that travel the energy or don't. Because if this is closed down, no chi or life force or prana gets through. So I get a tight neck. And so I get maybe thyroid problems because it's the physical, the mental, and the spiritual intersecting at a chakra. So in the third chakra, the mental part is at the conscious, unconscious, and subconscious level. So if I had a subconscious trauma where age 7 in second grade, I was working really hard for a math award and I didn't get it. My best friend got it, and we had been working really hard together. And for some reason that traumatized me because other things are going on in my home environment. Or I had my mom really going hard at her career, proving herself as a woman to get through the glass ceiling. And I got imprinted unconsciously with that. Or I lived in a culture, my lineage was a very competitive culture in order to get ahead because they had always been suppressed. All of these things come together to cause an unconscious conclusion that I have to compete in order to get ahead. I'm not good enough. I can't relax. I have to go in order to get ahead. And so there's anxiousness wired in there. There is a life force that wants to get through the third chakra when it's open. Every chakra is also having an element. This is the fire element. So if the third chakra is balanced and open, it uses the fire element to fuel you manifesting out there on the physical plane what you want, which is also a part of the third chakra. The third chakra is involved in manifesting. But check this out. Every chakra is connected to one of the major endocrine glands of the hormonal system. The pancreas, which is a sugar metabolizer, is the one that's for the third chakra. So if we're off in our third chakra, being blocked, because we don't feel like we have the self-confidence or self-esteem, both chakra 2, to manifest out there on the physical plane what we desire to manifest, and we've shut off actually focusing on manifesting what we want, and instead just go along with what it feels like is expected of us. I'm supposed to be in an office job in this industry, not doing what I want out there, right? So that also affects the third chakra and closes it down if we're not focused on honoring our desires of what we want to manifest, or we have blockages with self-esteem and self-confidence around being able to manifest our desires on the physical plane. So that's going to be blocked. And when it's blocked, it doesn't get the fire element to fire it up. So because it's connected to the pancreas, it will go for simple carbs, complex carbs, which are the bad carbs, to fuel the pancreas because that's sugar metabolism. So you'll turn to a stimulant like coffee to get that fire that it's naturally supposed to be giving you, but it's blocked, so it can't. So a lot of the times people will excessively go for snacks like potato. I was just talking to somebody in a hugely competitive marketing firm in DC, talking today about there being increased competition with the different account they're going for. And she's saying, I'm trying to come off the chips. I mean, literally, the session right before the interview was dealing with this. So there's a lot of different aspects to the third chakra. We also tap on that fire when we're running. Out of all the cardio activities we could be doing, running is a singular one that takes the most power of the third chakra, but it's our power center. We're supposed to have power there. And so when it's off, there's like And it can be off because of the conditioning. Like the fifth chakra is about our ability to feel like we have limitless possibilities. And if we feel like we have no choice, then this is going to get closed down and this is going to get tight. And then the energy isn't going to distribute down throughout our system as much. And we're not going to also make choices that correspond to our actual desires. Because if we believe we don't have any choice, we have to be in that job, in that cubicle to get the mortgage paid and to get those benefits for the kids, then, right? So we're going to continue to drive ourselves and we're going to be off because we don't really want to be doing the thing that we're doing to manifest money out onto the physical plane. We're going to be programmed with lack, and it's not true lack. And this is going to be closed down. So the thyroid's off. So like there's all these holistic aspects.
And it's all connected. Like, I love how you connected it into the endocrine system and into like the actual science of your body. Like when you look at, if you ever online, like look at like your, like a picture of the spine, like just a super simple picture of the spine and where your nervous centers actually are. So like how like nerves, which are these highways that are making my fingers, my fingers are moving and things like that. Like they literally are in context with the chakras. And that's what's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's this whole like it's history. Like there's a history and we're not even using this wisdom in our daily life. And then we sit at a desk and, we're not activated in our solar plexus and our posture is crap. And, we're not, eating what we need to eat. And so that's just really powerful how you mentioned and tied in the glucose of all of it and pancreatic stuff. Cause like blood glucose and insulin resistance is one of the main things that I do in our, practices and with practice clients. And it's a big game changer because you're addicted to the sugar. And then, outlets, I love how you recommended cardio because I know when I'm feeling like what you mentioned, hopeless and that I don't have the possibilities that I wanted and I don't feel that there's balance in what's going on with how I'm manifesting things and how it's actually turning out because I'm trying to control it all because I don't think I have possibilities. Like it's all this mind game that you're playing with yourself, right? And in yoga, we talk about the monkey mind, but actually getting your physical body and that fitness in a place where you're saying, I'm going to change my habits away from chips because I know what it's doing on a deeper level. And even 5 minutes of some sort of cardio exercise is going to say, like, shock that system and shock that idea of lack. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's a quick physical approach and a quick physical blast. Yeah, I know that that's a great suggestion and I've made it before. But I also want to bring up the fact that like the chakras can be cleared and then activated to properly work for us. So the consciousness that we're blessed with naturally supports us so that we in our minds aren't making so much effort.
And that's huge and that's where the burnout, ties into play. And these are very deep concepts. You're connecting a lot of dots for me right now. So I appreciate, our audience for listening and kind of connecting them too. I feel like you're going to have a lot of realizations if you listen to this. Like I'm going to listen to it tomorrow and I'm going to hear different things. I think that's just the power of your speaking and what you've done over the last 20 plus years just in your career and doing those things. So what's one little nugget you want to leave our audience with? And then we'll talk about where we can find you in the world.
It's even beyond question your thoughts because you first have to understand that you have choice to not think, to not invest, to not act on what your mind is saying. So here's the nugget. Instead of it being like you, absolutely, your thoughts, you are your thoughts. Think of it like you're the dog walker and your mind is on a leash and either the dog is running ahead of you and you're chasing after it because you're out of control, letting it be the monkey mind, or you have the dog under control and it's detached away in front of you and it will stop, give you your paw or its paw when you ask it to. So the mind is meant to be a tool. It's only one level of our consciousness. And in America or in the West, and across globally at this point, somewhat because of globalization and the internet and capitalism and westernization happening all over, it's like this blanket whirlwind of like a freak out because we're in this whole different time right now, the awakening times. There's one other aspect to the third chakra I really want to get across. Thank you. I feel like it's is going to be really helpful too, because that third chakra is also where the empathic equipment is. So you use your upper gut. Each one of us uses our upper gut. Yeah, gut instincts, get a gut feeling when you walk into an environment to get to check on the energy. But the empathic equipment also, if you have certain unconscious beliefs, picks up the energy of others and doesn't just leave it over there for them. It actually gets busy clearing the energy of others. And we are in such a massive shift on planet Earth right now. Everybody's having to step up and become more responsible over their own consciousness, that there's a lot more freak out, like I just mentioned. And so there's a lot more anxiousness that you can sit there, walk into a room and suck right out. And you could even be at home on the internet and suck out the nervousness planet-wide. So there's a reason. So even when you're anxious or when you're feeling driven and you have to like neurotically go after those goals, you could also ask, is this even mine?
Wow.
It acts like a knife to like get the stuff out of your field that isn't yours. Because if you're a powerhouse, it's likely that somebody else is leeching off of your power.
Amen to that. And it gives you less to be responsible about, right? Because as like for me as a driven millennial, I want to be as responsible and empathetic and compassionate, and I want everything that comes from me to be wholehearted and to be real and to be authentic to me. But when I'm carrying other people's stuff, if I'm not conscious that I need to not take responsibility for it, or I need to not bring it on to someone else, that's a lot of baggage to carry around. I mean, if you have different relationships and things too.
But you're enabling them too.
Yeah. And so that's the empowerment for today, for the driven millennial community. And Dr. Allison, your amazing community, and just everybody collaborating in this, is saying that I'm going to own and be really cognizant about who I am, how I'm driving my ambition, and really giving myself that break to not carry other people's baggage, so that I don't get to that burnout and that I can be my most authentic self. And then, rubbing your belly every once in a while.
Yeah. More ability for us to collaborate in a community instead of compete and not cooperate. Because that's the new paradigm we're moving into. You're more authentically here. You're not carrying other people's baggage. You're not burned out. So you like deflection of and projection stuff happens because you're more tired and burnt out. But instead genuinely showing up and us being able to cooperate, communicate, and collaborate and create community, that's what we're moving into. So woohoo to that. Amen.
That's what the world needs. So that's my mission with this is getting to know people from around the world. I love that you're in Florida and we're able to do this. So where can people find you online in the virtual world?
So I want to actually suggest people go to vibrationalupgrade.com and go to the products and go to the chakra series. Because you can just get the third chakra there. You're going to get a free gift, and that's to wipe out the lack paradigm. It's going to help you with prosperity. It's going to help you not feel like you have to drive yourself so much with ambition. I did it during a full moon lunar eclipse at the Mayan ruins, and I've had people who are like multimillionaires still in the lack mentality, who I had been working with for years. For example, this one client permanently got deleted, the whole lack paradigm. You stepping into more wholeness with abundance and more worthiness with having abundance with more ease. That's the free gift you're going to get. But then I want to recommend you find me on the vibrationalupgrade.com website and go to the chakra series, because there's also self-diagnostic tools there for you to see which ones are off. And then you can listen to sample clearings for each chakra. And then there's a free Facebook group, Vibrational Upgrade.
All right. That's a ton of info, and that's great. I mean, I love doing the little quizzes online, and I think that's just, it's kind of this weird self-care thing I get, because I learn stuff about myself, or I'm like checking my horoscope or these things, but they're real, and what you shared is real, and so I hope that connects the dots for our community, and just understanding that like your body is this powerhouse, and the ancient wisdoms behind yoga and asana and chakras, like they all are literally, like, just because they're not in the textbook that you read in med school, actually they almost are. I have a couple that are starting to get there. So they're integrative medicine. Yeah, my integrative medicine textbook is like, it has all those components. So I'm so excited, and thank you so much, Dr. Allison. We're gonna get that free gift to our community, and we'll see you online and in your events.
Okay. Hey, wait, one more thing. Reasonable Dragons. Check it out. It's my book that just came out. Go to Amazon and you can get Reasonable Dragons. It's all about how to have more magic in your life and less of this burnout.
Dragons are cool. We all love that. Dragons. It's like Game of Thrones Part 43. Awesome. We'll see you later, Dr. Allison. Thank you so much.
Namaste.